I'm Astbury and I'm a pilot plant chemist at Robinson Brothers Limited. So I work in what's known as the pilot plant on site, which is like an intermediate step between lab work and full-scale manufacturing. So it's obviously a lot of things to take into account when you're scaling up a chemical reaction: heat, stirring, pressure buildup, that sort of thing. So on a day-to-day basis, my job is to help operate the plant. So I get to do all the big chemistry in the pilot plant, and also diagnose all the problems that occur in scale-up, come up with solutions that we can feasibly use for the processes, figure out whether they're viable, whether it's just not doable, whether there's another reagent we can use. So sometimes my job will be to take things back to a lab scale to test out different things and trial different theories, and then bring it back onto the plant when we've figured out what's wrong. I'm also in charge of some of the quality assurance side of things, so reviewing batch sheets to make sure everything's done properly, how much went in, how much came out. So there's lots of tracking and analysing to take into account. I'd say my favourite part of the job is taking the stuff that I learnt in my degree and applying it to a real life context. So obviously when you're learning about chemistry in school and at university, it's kind of hard to see the context, how chemistry is actually done in the real world. So obviously on site we make a lot of pharmaceutical intermediates, so you can see the sort of process of how those are made and that they go into particular drugs. Robinson's also produce the gas odorant for natural gas, so when you turn on the cooker and you get a gas smell. Gas doesn't normally have a smell naturally, so you have to add that smell in to make sure that you know when there's a leak. We also make rubber additives on site, particularly ones which go into high-end Nike shoes. So like I say, it's really interesting to see where the products go, and I like knowing that I'm doing the chemistry behind a lot of these amazing things. So I liked chemistry in school. I loved the sciences just in general. I always found it was really interesting to learn about how things work, why they happen, what happens if you do one particular reaction to form one product, that sort of thing. And then so I pursued that further after GCSEs, did my A-levels in the three sciences, and it was really at that point that I decided, you know what, I really enjoy chemistry. I enjoy learning about the mechanisms of how things interact, and of course blowing stuff up is always fun, setting things on fire, but I found that sort of thing really interested me, figuring out how things work and why they do, and why the things happen. And that kind of led me on to why I'm doing my current job. So, applying everything and putting it into a real world actual context, making things that matter, making a difference really. So I took a very conventional route to get to where I am now. I started obviously in school, did my GCSEs, then went on to college, sixth form, to do my A-levels. After my A-levels I went straight on to university at the University of Wolverhampton, studied chemistry, got my first class with honours, and then obviously went on into my current job now as a pilot plant chemist. But that's not the only way you can get into a job in chemistry. For example, my co-worker went from GCSE to A-level, got his A-levels, went into work. At that workplace he was put through an apprenticeship where he got to do all the experience in work whilst also getting a HND. And then when he finally moved to Robinson Brothers, they set up a day release scheme for him to go and get his degree alongside working for them. And he's currently in his final year. He's due to get his degree this year in chemistry at the University of Wolverhampton. Hopefully that illustrates to you guys that there's lots of different ways to get to your chosen career with a conventional route like me, going from A levels straight to university, or through a vocational route where you do work alongside it with an apprenticeship or with other similar schemes that institutions like the University of Wolverhampton offer. If you're going to go into chemistry or maybe one of the other sciences, I would highly recommend that a student takes up a placement year. So I did an industrial placement for 12 months after my second year at university, but I also did a placement year back in college as a lab tech in a school. So I've had experience doing chemistry in an educational environment as well as in an industrial workplace. And what that offers is more than what you'll learn on a course at school or at university. You learn real workplace skills, so things like really simple things like getting up on time, getting to work in a fashionable manner, you know, acting professionally in the workplace, giving presentations, working with other team members, but also on your own as well. And all those sort of key skills that you get told about all the time, you really learn what they mean and how to use them in a workplace. So I think that's absolutely invaluable to do when you study in a higher education environment. I really enjoyed my time at the University of Wolverhampton. I had a lot of experiences that were amazing. I learned a lot of skills, I made lots of friends and connections, and I really wouldn't have gone anywhere else. I wouldn't have changed anything because it was just a really great environment to learn in. It gave me plenty of opportunity. In fact, I worked at one of the biggest chemistry firms in the world for my placement year. I mean, that's big, and it's a really great place to go and study.